Toyota diff breathers. If you got one of the 3rd gen 4runners, 1st gen Tacomas, the axle breather for the transfer and the front diff are inside the fender. They all come all the way up in the fender. So they're out of the water, but the back one doesn't. This little nipple threads into the axle housing right above the 3rd member. You get a 14 mil deep well socket on that. And this cap's on top. This little cap has a small piston or a small rubber washer and a spring inside. It only allows air to come out of the axle, and that way if you're fording deep water, this should close off and not, well, it might still suck water into the axle seals or elsewhere. Always check your diff fluid after your diff oil after you've gone deep wading. Make sure there's no water in the trans, the engine, the axles, transfer case, front diff. The problem is that when that diff breather plugs, you drive, your oil expands. There's nowhere for the air to go, so it'll blow the oil through the outer axle bearing, washing the grease out and causing it to fail. So if you have oil, you have wet inner tires both sides, generally you might think it's a brake piston. It could be. Usually they fail on one side only. The outer axle bearing on these is separate from the diff oil, and it runs in its own grease. So getting that oil washed through there is what kills them. So the diff oil is going to taste oily. The brake fluid will taste soapy. If you do that, don't do it at home. There you go. So that's the deal on those. You can obviously change it to a hose barb and run a gas line all the way up forward into your engine bay. That's what the guys do in Australia that do the deep water wading and stuff. So I think I might clean this one out, put it back in, and hope that the oil inside my drum brakes wasn't from that. However, when it does happen, it's not. I have all the tools to rebuild it, so I'll just block it up like this and pull the axle shafts, bearing units, and everything out. And somewhere in the scrap pile, there's a bearing puller tool to use a shop press to pull the bearing, the retaining collar, pull that whole stack off. I don't quite remember. I've done it before. Anyway, guys, that's it. Check your lower ball joints and check your diff breathers from time to time. I'm in New York. I got saltwater rust, and it can easily get clogged. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.